racism and hate you had towards my people. You lied to them with sweet words, knowing they not equal. You equivocate them, miseducate them. The oppression of them surpassed what the Most High made. You see what this means? The rain has fallen, no drops remains from the clouds. The fire has burned and no more steam comes out from the grounds. The earth yells, she screams out in pain. The blood, the stains. Innocent slain, but the prophet remain. He had my people in chains because their arms are weak. They simple as vain, they imply hatred and greed. They feed off the blood of the slain, but they will be consumed. The fire that sees souls as food is coming after you. What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Shalom, shalom, everybody. It's your brother Yahuwah, back at you one more again. And this week we're going to talk about, basically, that song right there was My Brothers the Shadows featuring myself. And it's called Let My People Go. Story of everybody here probably is pretty sure familiar with the story of Moses when he went down and told old Pharaoh to let the Most High's people go. And that's basically just like our take on that story. Pretty much I think we recorded it a while ago, but we like really started loving it around the time of the Passover when we were basically like made to focus on that story, as that's the story in the Passover for real. So much love to my brothers the Shadows, and we're gonna talk about what that song was leading up to, and that was the Most High Yah's deliverance of his people out of the hands of those who oppressed them. And we have a deliverance that could be a group of people, and then we also have a deliverance that could be our individual deliverance and freedom out of people that may oppress us, in one way or another one, all through life. It happens all the time. So let's just go into some scriptures that speak on that topic. First one we're going to go to is Psalm 120. And we're going to read the whole thing. This is Psalm 120. In my distress, I cried unto Yahuwah, the Most High, and he heard me. Deliver my soul, O Yahuwah, from lying lips and from a deceitful tongue. What shall be given unto thee, or what shall be done unto thee, thou false tongue? Sharp arrows of the mighty, with coals of juniper. Woe is me, that I sojourn in Meshech, that I dwell in the tents of Kedar. My soul have long dealt with him that hateth peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. Now let's get that same thing out of the Amplified Bible. And I said it before, probably like last week or a week before that. Quickly becoming one of my favorite translations because it like goes above and beyond and let us know what the verses are saying. Just make it super plain. And that's all I'm about, just clarity and making it super plain. So let's get it out of the Amplified. A song of ascents, or going up, ascending. In my trouble, I cried to Yahuwah, the Most High, and he answered me. Rescue my soul, O Yahuwah, from lying lips and from a deceitful tongue. What shall be given to you, and what more shall be done to you, you deceitful tongue? Sharp arrows of the warrior, with the burning coals, the broom tree, of the broom tree. Woe to me, for I sojourn in Meshech, and I live among the tents of Kedar. And that's saying among hostile people. Too long my soul has had its dwelling with those who hate peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. This is Psalm 55 and 20 and 21. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Amplified Bible says, he, my companion, has put out his hands against those who were at peace with him. It happens a lot. Somebody you think is your friend, but secretly, covertly, they doing some other stuff. He has broken his covenant of friendship and loyalty. We talk a lot about these days. I see a lot of people posting and talking about loyalty. It's important, but it's very rare these days. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but his heart was hostile. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And the scriptures that say, like, trust not your enemy, it say, like, he'll go crouching and being ever so humble. But behind your back, behind closed doors, he up to something totally different. So, God watch him. This is verse 22. Cast your burden on Yahuwah. Release it. Cast it on the Heavenly Father. And he will sustain and uphold you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken, slip and fall. But you, O Elohim, will bring down the wicked to the pit of destruction. Men of blood and treachery will not live out half their days, but I will boldly and unwaveringly trust in you. That's who we could put our trust in. Book say, cursed be the man that trusteth in man. Blessed is the one who put their trust in the Most High. You know, we know he ain't going to switch up on us. No, he ain't going to let us down. You know, as long as we uphold our part of the covenant, and that's to keeping the law, statutes, and commandments he gave us to live by to the best of our ability. You know, he knows what we're capable of. He never allows us to be tested above what we are able. So as long as we do our part, we can rest assured he going to do his part. Unlike people, you could do your part with everything. But them people still, if they got it in their heart, what God is setting in their mind to do you credit or bring you a dirty, foul move, that's what they going to do no matter how good we might be to them, how loyal we might be to them. It happens. So take it from somebody who knows. Put your trust in the Most High. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 34 verse 22. And this is going back to where it said men of blood and treachery. And we let you know exactly what that is. It could be more things than that too, but this is just one instance. One I can relate to. He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him, and he that defraudeth the laborer of his hire is a bloodshedder. Good News Translation. Anyone who steals an animal from the poor to offer it as a sacrifice is like someone who kills a boy before his father's eyes. Food means life itself to poor people, and taking it away from them is murder. So if you're keeping somebody from eating, and the money that they earned from working for you or working with you or whatever, and you stopping them from getting that in any way, that's the equivalent of murdering them, because you gotta eat to live. So if you're taking away their food source, that's murder. It's one thing if somebody's just asking, but if it's something that somebody rightfully belongs to them, something that they work for, and for you to withhold that from them, that's equivalent to murder. And it's not me saying it, that's the scripture speaking. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes, and in the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail, and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. Therefore, from the beginning, I was resolved that though upon these things, and have left them in writing, all the works of Yahuwah are good, and he will give every needful thing in due season, so that a man cannot say, this is worse than that. For in time they shall all be well approved. Good News Translation. No one can claim that some things are worse than others, for everything is good in its proper place. And that made me think of Ecclesiastes 7 and 10. Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these? For thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Amplified Bible breaks it down this way. Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask about this. Good News Translation. Never ask, oh, why were things so much better in the old days? It is not an intelligent question. And the reason why it's not an intelligent question is because everything is happening at the proper time that it's supposed to happen. Yes, we might miss the way certain things were, but I watched a video one time from a YouTuber by the name, of Marcel. And he was saying that, like people, it's easy to say when we look now. Like, say for instance, music. I'm a music lover, so it's like easy for me to say, like, man, this music of the day is garbage. Man, this music of the day don't have no substance. It's this and it's that and it's the third. But if you honestly take a look back, it was songs back in the day that wasn't about nothing, that didn't have no substance. It seemed like it's more now that's that way, but it was stuff back. It was always stuff like that. But when we tend to remember things, we tend to remember the best things about something. Just like, say, you might have had a friend, and for whatever reason, you might have fallen out with that friend and you stopped being friends with them. And all you tend to remember is just the good things about that friend. But then you reconnect with them, and all of a sudden they'll do something, and then they'll come back to you like, yeah, you did used to do that. Or yeah, they did used to do that. That used to get on my nerves, but you just tended to forget those parts. You just tended to remember only the good parts about a person or a thing. So a lot of times, like the negative stuff that you didn't like always existed, but when you think back on your memories, you tend to, like hold on to the good memories and throw the bad memories away. Like what some people like to call selective amnesia. So when you really think about it, it wasn't, some things weren't as good as we might have thought they were. And some of the stuff that might be bad, you just might not have noticed it, but it might have been going on the whole time. So it's not wise. The book said it's not wise. It's not an intelligent question to ask. Why were things so much better in the old days than they are now? This is Ecclesiastes in the Bible that's right there with Proverbs, in another book by King Solomon. And it's chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the sun. God's Word Translation says, everything has its own time, and there is a specific time for every activity under heaven. Good News Translation. Everything that happens in this world happens at the time that Elohim, the Most High, chooses. So it's all in his time. It's not up to us. Even people that believe that they the ones that's making things happen, they still can't do anything unless the Most High approves it. Like if you look in the story of Job, even the adversary, the devil, had to get permission from the Most High before he was able to touch Job. So nothing happened without his say so. Nothing. No matter who you might think you are, how powerful you may think you may be, or how certain people we might put on a pedestal and think they so powerful, nothing happens unless the Most High allows it. He runs the show for real, for real. This is let's read that Good News Translation one more time. Everything that happens in this world happens at the time that Elohim, the Most High, chooses. Straight up and down. This is Sirach Ecclesiasticus 39 and 16. All the works of Yahuwah are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season. Shout out with that. Shout out to my brother Ebenezer, wherever you at, bro. Because we used to just like take random verses out of the Bible and put them to song, like put melodies to them, and that's one that we used to sing a lot. That was one of our favorites for real. So shout out, bro. I ain't gonna try to sing it by myself because I probably won't do it justice. The harmony was what made it kind of slick for real. This is the Common English Bible. All the works of Yahuwah are very good. Every command of his will be carried out in its proper time, in due season. That's what that means. It is not for us to say, what's this? Or for what purpose is that? Everything will be examined at its proper time. At his command, the water piled up in a heap. What happened with Moses? And his spoken word, by his spoken word, reservoirs of water stood erect. Y'all seen the pictures where the water stood up on this side and stood up on that side, so that the people of Israel could pass through when the Most High delivered them out of the hands of the Egyptians. Verse 18, his command accomplishes his good pleasure, and no one can hinder, diminish, or hinder the deliverance he intends. And the King James Version says, no man can hinder when he will save. This says, no man can diminish the deliverance he intends. So, Most High says it's going to happen. Ain't nothing nobody can say or do about it. That's what's going to happen. This is Exodus 15 and 26. And said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Yahuwah, thy mighty one, and will do that which is right in his sight. That's what we got to do. That's what people leave that part out. They think he's a genie. He's just going to do what we want him to do. No. Let's read it again. And said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to Yahuwah, thy mighty one, the Lord thy God, that's the way that is written in the King James, and do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandment, and keep his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which have been brought upon the Egyptians. For I am Yahuwah, I am the Lord, that healeth thee. The Amplified Bible says, saying, if you will diligently listen and pay attention to the voice of Yahuwah, your mighty one, your Elohim, and do what is right in his sight, and listen to his commandments, and keep foremost in your thoughts, and actively obey all of his precepts and statutes, then I will not put on you any of the diseases which I have put on the Egyptians, for I am Yahuwah who heals you. As simple as that. We got to do our part. We got to diligently listen and keep foremost in our thoughts and actively obey all of his precepts and statutes. Like, none of us are perfect, so we're going to slip here and there, but the goal is to keep and do what he says and keep his commandments for real, not just listen to him. But it says a verse that say the person that just hears faith without works is dead. You hear it and you have faith, but you got to do your part. You got to do, like, just listening is not enough. What Bruce Lee say, knowing is not enough. We must apply. We must apply the stuff that we know. We got to do. Wait a minute, I'm quoting it wrong. Let me get that real quick. It's not a Bible verse, but it's something that goes along with the Bible verses by the great martial artist. All y'all know who Bruce Lee is. If not, look him up. He's pretty amazing guy. Lived a pretty amazing life from what I saw. Wait a minute, I'm gonna get it so I can quote that man properly and not just say something and say he said it, because I don't want nobody saying nothing to saying I said it. So I like to get that man the same courtesy. Here it is. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. So it ain't enough just to know something. You got to apply what you know. Being willing is not enough either. You got to do. Like, you just look at somebody and say, like what the book of James say, James, be healed. Bible, because they giving me a song And I'm not looking for a song right now. I'm looking for this specific verse. I was gonna say particular. I wasn't going to say Pacific like some people. What you call? Some people instead of saying specific, they say Pacific. Here you go. This is the book of James. Book I get my name from. I like to think that's where my name comes from. My cousin had a cousin by the name of Blinky, and his name is James, but his nickname was Blinky, and he used to sing all the time because his name is James too. He was my big cousin. He's not my uncle. He's my big cousin. Rest in peace to him. Like great guy, great sense of humor, just a cool guy for real. And he used to sing all the time. Like he made me proud of my name for real, because his name is James. Also, he used to sing all the time. It was a man in the Bible named James. And I just thought that was cool the way that he used to sing it. It made me proud to be named James. But this is the book of James, and we're going to start at verse 14. And the subtitle for it in the King James is Faith and Works. It says, "What doth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith, and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto him, Depart in peace, and be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding you give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? Even so, faith, if it has not works, is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. Thou believest that there is one God, and thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? So that was verses 14 up until 21. Let's go into one of my other favorite translations and try to get those same verses so that we can show enough clarity on what's being read right there. We're going to go to the Amplified. Faith and works. What is the benefit, my fellow believers, if someone claims to have faith but has no good works as evidence? Can that kind of faith save him? No, a mere claim of faith is not sufficient. Genuine faith produces good works. If a brother or sister is without adequate, tongue tied. If a brother or sister, y'all gonna have to excuse my little outbursts. My mom used to say all the time, "Boy, you sure are noisy." And sometimes I can be. Sometimes I can be a little over dramatic. I was kind of like mad at myself for tripping up on that word. So let's go back and start that part again. Excuse me. My folks say, y'all guys, excuse me here. Faith and works. What is the benefit, my fellow believers, if someone claims to have faith but has no good works as evidence? Can that kind of faith save him? No. A mere claim of faith is not sufficient. Genuine faith produces good works. If a brother or sister is without adequate clothing and lacks enough food for each day, and one of you says to him, Go in peace with my blessings, keep warm and feed yourselves, but he does not give them the necessities for the body, what good does that do? So too faith, if it does not have works to back it up, is by itself dead, inoperative, and ineffective. But someone may say, You claim to have faith, and I have good works. Show me your alleged faith without the works, if you can, and I will show you my faith by my works. That is, by what I do. You believe that Elohim, God, is one? Do well to believe that. The demons also believe that, and shudder and bristle and all feel terror. They have seen his wrath. But are you willing to recognize, you foolish, spiritually shallow person, that faith without good works is useless? So, like I said, knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. Show me your faith by your works. So let's go back to where we were. Okay. This is Wisdom of Solomon, But thy sons, not even the very teeth of venomous dragons overcame, for thy mercy was ever by them and healed them. For they were pricked that they should remember thy words, and were quickly saved, that not falling into deep forgetfulness, they might be continually mindful of thy goodness. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health, but thy word, O Yahuwah, which healeth all things. So the Most High's word makes stuff happen. Our word, we got to back it up with action. Well, when he say something, actions take place. When we say something, we got to do the actions that come along with what we saying. We got to embody what we talking about. Like I seen that it was a famous little meme going around, and I even seen some people make some clothes that say some people are not all they post to be. Instead of like supposed to be, like they post one way but they live in another way. We got to make our words and our actions line up for real. That's what the Most High respects, and that's what people respect for real, for real. For thou hast the power of life and death. Thou leadest down to the gates of hell and bringeth up again. Common English Bible. Yet not even the fangs of poisonous snakes were able to overcome your children, because your mercy traveled along with them and healed them. You did sting them in order to remind them of the things that you had told them, but you came to their rescue quickly so that they might not fall into deep forgetfulness of your goodwill toward them. It wasn't any herb or ointment that healed them, but your word alone, Yahuwah, that heals everything. You have power over life and death. You lead people down to the gates of hell and you bring them back up again. Humans can indeed kill by their evil, but they can't bring back the life that has expired. It's the truth. Humans could kill all day, but we can't bring nobody back to life or restore the spirit that has been taken away. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Amplified Bible. I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you today, that I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore you shall choose life in order that you may live, you and your descendants. Proverbs 18 and 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who live to indulge in it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of their words. So that's basically like we just gotta watch our mouths, because the things that we say may eventually come to pass, will eventually come to pass, and we gonna have to eat. If we always putting out positive out there, we will get back positive. If we always putting out negative and speaking death and speaking, like bad things, that's what we gonna get for real. Amplified Bible. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love to indulge of it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of their words. Good News Translation. What you say can preserve life or it can destroy it. So you must accept the consequences of your words. Proverbs 10 and 19. In the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. Amplified Bible. When there are many words, transgressions and offenses are unavoidable, but he who controls his lips and keeps thoughtful silence is wise. Proverbs 13 and 13. Hold up, I think this is a whole different talk for a whole nother day that I'm going into right now. Like, this not even the same one that we started out talking about today. This is a whole nother one for real. Let me check. Nah, we good, actually. It's just some bonus stuff about watching him out for real. Like, we already touched on the subject of God's deliverance, the Most High's deliverance, and the way how that stuff happens and the way that it goes around. But this is some additional verses just reminding us. We already did a video a couple of weeks ago entitled Watch Your Mouth. So these are just some more precepts to go along with that for real. Excuse me for zoning out for a second, but I just had to check for real. This is Good News Translation. Let's read that one more time. Proverbs 18:21. What you say can preserve life or it can destroy it. So you must accept the consequences of your words. Another one. Proverbs 10:19. In the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. Amplified Bible. When there are many words, transgression and offense are unavoidable. But he who controls his lips and keeps thoughtful silence is wise. Proverbs 13:3. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. And let's be clear, that don't mean don't talk, but it mean watch what you're talking about. Be mindful of what you're saying for real. Amplified Bible. The one who guards his mouth, thinking before he speaks, that's the key, protects his life. The one who opens his lips and chatters without thinking comes to ruin. That's what they call it with Dame Dash and them say a chatty patty. And they say right here chatters. So yeah. Proverbs 21:23. Whoso keepeth his mouth and keepeth his tongue, keepeth his soul from troubles. Amplified Bible. He who guards his mouth and his tongue guards himself from troubles. Himself. And last one, International Standard Version. Whoever watches his mouth and tongue, keeps himself out of trouble. So let's be among those that watch our mouth and our tongue and keep ourselves out of trouble, because trouble ain't for nobody, man. Some people brag about it, some people call themselves a trouble man or trouble woman or whatever, but I ain't one of them people. So I like to watch my mouth for real. I like to think about what I say before I say it and go from there for real. But yeah, that's today, man. We talking about the Most High's deliverance, which is a beautiful and wonderful thing. And then we also touched on some more of the scriptures that were about like just watching our mouths and watching what we say. And also a key that we touched on today was the verse in Ecclesiastes that say, do not say what was the cause that the former days were better than these, for thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Like, that's not an intelligent question, the scripture said. Because the reason why, it says, all the works of Yahuwah are good, and he will give every needful thing in due season, so that a man cannot say, this is worse than that, or worse than that, not worse. Sorry about that. My mama would have probably smacked me across my hand or something for doing that, or pinch me, and I'd have loved to have one more pinch. But it says, for in the time they shall all be well approved. Good News Translation. No one can claim that some things are worse than others, for everything is good in its proper place. And like Ecclesiastes say, to everything there is a season, and there's Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the sun. So there's a time and a place for everything. Like you hear that said all the time, but there go right out of the scriptures. Time and place for everything. So let's be ready, the most we can to the best of our ability, prepare ourselves and trust the one who can make things right when it seems like it's no way. Just trust in the Most High, because it's at his word that everything happens, and no man can hinder, no man can stop it when he gonna save something. One more that's not in the notes, but let's just get this one. This is the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament. And this is chapter 8, verse 10 that we going to read real quick. Give me 1 second. And then after we read that one, we will be out of here. Coming up right now. I'm going to read like 2 translations of that. And we going to call it a night. Here it is right here. Take counsel together, and it shall come to naught. Speak the word, and it shall not stand. For Elohim is with us, and God with us is Emmanuel. And this is the Amplified version. No, we're going to not do the Amplified version this time. We're going to give another one, a little bit of light. Good News Translation this time. Make your plans, but they will never succeed. Talk all you want, but it is all useless, because Elohim is with us, or Emmanuel. Elohim is with us on the side of those who, like we just finished reading, like listen to him diligently, listen to his voice, and follow his commandments. This is God's word translation. Make plans for battle, but they will never succeed. Give orders, but they won't be carried out, because Elohim is with us, with his people. And one more, New Living Translation. Call your councils of war, but they will be worthless. Develop your strategies, but they will not succeed, for Elohim is with us. And man, that's making me want to do one more, y'all. This is in the book of Job. And this is what it said that the Most High would do it for his people. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. The Berean Study Bible says he thwarts the schemes of the crafty, so that their hands find no success. One more. I'd like to get 3 witnesses. Let's go to... Sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. I apologize. Somebody told me, a good friend of mine told me, don't say you sorry, because it's more so speaking about your character. You say you apologize when you do something that you didn't mean to do. So I apologize for taking so long. This is the New Living Translation. He frustrates the plans of schemers, so that the work of their hands will not succeed. That's what he'll do for his people who diligently listen to his voice, do the best to follow his commandments. He will deliver us with his mighty arm. And with that being said, much love to each and every one of y'all. Thank you for tuning in to another one of my talks. Happy and blessed Sabbath to all of y'all. Shabbat Shalom. And most high willing, we will see each other again soon. Shout out to my homie for this shirt. I told y'all I was going to be getting some more stuff to wear that was more pertinent and more like on the topic of what we talking about. This shirt says, as you can see, blessed, verified by the Most High. That's the only, if I got to have a blue check, that's the blue check I want. I want it being from him. I'm not worried about getting one from the world. And to my buddy Regina, her company is called Fancy Your Aura. I saw her with it on a sweatshirt. I told her I liked it. She was like, want one? I said, heck yeah. So she sent this my way. So shout out to her for this. Much love. And like I said, most high willing, we'll see each other again soon. Shalom. Peace out.